When I finished my first priority ship girl, Monarch, there were just 2 seasons available with 6 girls each. Routine the duology of French events in 2020, I finished St. Louis too, and then moved to research Neptune. But then, a surprise, to me, came soon after. Priority Series 3. This brought many firsts, the reduction of girls per season from 6 to 5, and the only season to have one decisive rarity ship. PR1 had none, and all the others had 2 each. But the main talking point of the day, and perhaps the character I was most excited up to that point, was Cheshire. A cosplay maid who also incorporates cat-like imagery, is obsessive over you, and is well endowed? Easy love at first sight. I literally dropped everything to hyper-focus on obtaining her as fast as possible, which in my case meant I got her around late July, around the same time Nagato was rerunning. PR ships, when you first get them, are next to unusable, Vanguard's less so than backline contemporaries, but it takes a while for them to be useful in your fleet. Cheshire is quite forgiving, as you likely only need her at Dev 15 for her to start taking off, but of course not at optimal strength. Let's put the power level aside for a second. Drake and Cheshire were the first PR3 ship girls to obtain skins, during the Scherzo of Iron and Blood rerun. Obviously, I didn't have Drake, but Cheshire was fair game, so I rented her skin to check it out. It was very cute, but I wasn't convinced that this was better than her default outfit. And with a slim gem budget, I opted to spend my gems elsewhere, some already documented, some I will eventually get to. With the tools at my disposal, I gathered some video clips together and for the first time, edited it into a feature video and uploaded it on YouTube. The result? The watermark speaks for itself. So let's jump forward a little bit, to around the start of 2021. I went from just 1 Oath girl to 8, and my account was looking very decent. The first Ultra event came and went, with me passing quite unscarred. I had assembled a whole team of Royal Navy cruisers, including Newcastle, Belfast, Aurora, and of course Cheshire. The reason why I did so has been forgotten. Maybe I wanted to do something involving a squadron of Royal Navy maids? Who knows? What I didn't forget were the series of events that came after. Obviously, past me dedicated one of the sparse Kinemaster era videos to it, multiple goals at 100 Affinity, Aurora winning out by virtue of receiving a marriage skin, and the rest is history. But included in that history, between the massive gap in uploads, was me checking out Cheshire's first live 2D. Now, I don't believe Cat Sith Crooner needs any introduction. It was a super popular skin at the time, but I assume quite a few long-time players also bought. With that assumption, I believe you can comment below about what you like about the skin, and it would be inclusive of my opinions as well. Now, this skin was expensive. 1,200 gems may no longer be the peak of skin prices, but it was still a steep ask for myself, even if it wasn't foreign to me. I also snagged the double ring pack, allowing for 2 extra oaths to be made. It was quite obvious what the next step was going to be. Luckily, I still have the original recording of it too, back from Valentine's Day 2021.
師匠は旦那様がいなかったらこの美しい世界に具現化されなかったし、 可愛いみんなとも出会えなかったし、何より旦那様と恋することもできなかったもん。旦那様がチェシャーを大事にするって言ってくれたから、チェシャーも旦那様のことが大好きって100回ぐらい言わないとダメだよね。じゃあ始める。言い終わるまで絶対どこにも行かにゃいでね。はーい、旦那様大好き。
With her and Aurora, that marked 10 married girls on my account. Let's relax for a little bit. So, after I completed Cheshire, I went back and completed Neptune on the same day. Due to the 24-hour rule, I had to come back tomorrow to start a new PR ship. Okay, now I move on to Rune, I told myself. But once again, I halted progress on her to do someone else. Who could it have been this time? It had been over a year since I first played Azur Lane. When I got to the title screen, I was greeted with this CG. PR1 had just launched, but I didn't know who any of them were. What was I getting myself into? Well, it wouldn't take long for me to realise. In the background, that's Hipper, Rune and Friedrich. In the foreground, that's Izumo and Ibuki.
Yoko-san, あまり出せたものではないですが、お茶でもどうでしょうか。
A fan favourite, loved by many players and content creators across the years, and even her very artist enjoys her. Open and shut case, right? Well, there is one thing. I thought about her, which acts like an overhanging asterisk. Out of all the PR ships, I'd argue she is the most dependent on her skins to carry her personality. So much so that her recent appearances in the story don't even use her default. That's her Live 2D skin. And I can see why, since her default goes for that. I know there's one person watching that will swear by her default for the double raised arms. Don't be shy. I'm just not a fan. And while this is standard for PR1 defaults due to their age, the lack of any expressions doesn't do her any favours either. Is that affect my overall judgment of her? That remains to be seen. So when I obtained her in August 2020, I immediately swung for her third skin. I only poach skins for characters I have locked in the dock, to avoid situations like having the skin for a character that I missed and can't obtain again for 2 whole years. Being a PR1 ship, she was quite easy to dev 30 due to the various quality of life features added previously. In fact, I did so only a few hours before the maintenance that gave us Aurora's own skin and Cheshire's Live 2D, captured by my strategic screenshotting skills. The ceremony happened later than you might expect. In April, a certain Intrepid crashed in during that time period. While the oath montages may have stopped, vows haven't stopped being given. Since Aurora, 3 more vows have been exchanged. Cheshire on the 30th of February, Intrepid on the 7th of March, and Ibuki on the 14th of April. More oaths are to be announced in the future on Firitesen Station. No more oath montages are to be dedicated to them.
山で暮らして毎日雲を眺める生活も好きですけど、ここに来てから今の生活でも悪くないと思うようになりました。
She initially appears very reserved, but quickly reveals herself to be quite affectionate, learning to display her emotions along the way. The best way to feel her personality advancement is through, of course, her skins. Of course, her skins are very good, and importantly, consistently good too. But if I had to say something, her third skin is the least effective at showing her personality, as you don't obtain a lot of new lines, and the amount of expressions are few in number 2. It's still great looking though, and I don't regret spending gems on it. So no, being reliant on skins didn't hold Ibuki back for me. In fact, more good news would arrive soon. It would be her 4th skin, Tranquil Sunya. There's some fun trivia behind this skin too. It was originally part of promotional art for a collaboration between Azur Lane and Coco Ichiban. It was our same collaboration which gave us the lovely skins for Nagato and Le Téméraire. Though, unlike those skins mentioned prior, Ibuki's launched later, during the first Scabbard Oratory rerun for some reason. Aside from some moderate touch-ups, it is very much part of the same origin point.
主殿、こちらにどうぞおくつろぎくださいませ。主殿、できれば伊吹に何かお任せを。このままでは伊吹、ちょっとそわそわしそうです。主殿、お茶をお注ぎしますね。何もせず、一緒に時間を過ごしているだけなのに。伊吹、何か充実してて、満ち溢れているような。主殿、伊吹は今、恋をしているのでしょうか。
Whenever I go back to Ibuki, this is the skin I use on her. After Ibuki, it would be almost 3.5 years before I would marry another priority research ship. What was the hold-up? Why the sudden freeze? Who would be next? Let us proceed.